Okay. So, pulling ourselves aware of everything in a cumulative way, beauty of friendship online, the beauty of our friendships that when we've known each other in real real time or real hug time kind of time. Bringing that sense of warmth that comes with friendship, feeling that quality of vibration in our hearts. Let's sink into that warmth. For a moment, let's pretend that we could seek a central point in our heart that was the emanation of that. And then let's release our attention on the center of our heart, just feeling how, well, yes, it is true that it's emanating from within me. And it's equally true that it's emanating from all around me. That friendship warmth is alive in a reciprocity that gets triggered by our pictures on this screen, triggered by our experiences in the past. And attuned to the emanation of this friendship warmth that's hugging you. That's hugging each of us. And then open up the attunement awareness to be a both and, the exchange. The outside and the inside exchanging in this warmth, this friendship energy. And then widen it out to include all our practice partners and friends of the past. And widen it out again to include all of humanity. And widen it out again to include the organic living life forms all around you in particular, Whatever birds are singing or plants or flowers are alive around you. Whatever mountain base you're sitting at, water, ocean you're near. Widen it out to include the whole planet. Get close to the earth. Let a palm or hand be resting on the earth. Or both of them. Feel the sun up ahead, up, 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 up above your head. Central hub of our solar system. And the other stars that join her in our universe. And attend to the space. The space between all these beautiful stars. And without leaving behind any aspect of this. Keeping your meditation. I'll try and figure out what's going on. My grandson. Pulling into our spaciousness, all of the others who love us, like grandchildren. Pulling our awareness through those little rings that activate different streams of our consciousness. Softening into the totality of specifics and vastness. And bringing yourself to the specifics of what's underneath your hands as your hands are on the earth. Tuning, attuning. Allowing the process of connection to open up slowly within you and the earth. You can ride on that same quality of attention and same quality of heart, friendship, warmth. We can sense that in our hearts and through our arms, opening the palms of our hands, our fingertips. Relaxing more and more into ease, into openness. To acceptance. Whatever variation of information and energy comes and goes, connects. Whatever language or format it is, we don't need to go mental at all about it. We can just receive and exchange through our animal nature, through our life force, exchanging. Just like breathing. Let's begin to listen as deeply as if we were breathing with the earth. As indeed we are, we're breathing the earth's oxygen. Inviting, wondering how we might be teachable today. How we might learn from the soil, from the earth. How we might honor the earth with our attention. Our willingness to be taught and transmitted to. Feel your feet or your tailbone, or both, in their connection. Feel gravity. Feel how you need to keep your being upright, or you would fall into the embrace of the earth. And if laying upon the earth is good for you today, that's awesome. It's fine. It's fine. So begin to stroke and fiddle with your hands and open up the sensories of the skin even more with a caress into the earth. Letting the earth touch you. You touch the earth. It's that exchange. Then bring up a piece of what you've been touching up to your nose. There's a little friction, rubbing. Open up any different smells. What are like the vineyard kind of people would say, what are the notes of your smell notes of your soil? Can you reach around? Is there any particular different kind of soil? I have some wood chips here that would smell differently. And if there's some green nearby that you feel comfortable breaking up and scrunching with love and respect, seeing how the green smells. Oh, I have some plants right near here that I normally call weeds, and I'm going to smell their roots. It's quite different than their leaves. Taking a little sniffer for a moment. And smell your own hands if they're dirty. Taste them if you want. I don't say you need to, but or maybe even just taste the scent of your hands. And closing our eyes again with our sense of our own potential to be rooted and grounded. Activate a bond and even or invite an even deeper bond to begin to form beneath, through and beneath the surface of the soil that your hands rest on, into the deeper territory. You may know how the earth is structured. You may know the geology of your area or not. Just let it be an energetic dropping. If you've used visualization to activate the process, and see if you can add a sensory component in so that your senses are going right with you. See if you can allow the senses to take the lead. And when it seems like the senses have run out of reach, just let the energy and information of however deep depth, to whatever depth you've traveled, be just fine. And then let that energy and information circulate. Circulate up to your hands, through all the molecules and life of the earth, soil, into your living being, resting on what we think of as the surface of the soil. Let it wrap around you. Let it climb up through your perineum and up your spine. Let it circulate over the top of your head and drop down the front side of your body back into the earth. Invite that cycle, perhaps with a little bit of energetic movement inside yourself. I find it's like the ing sound in our kidney series. Kind of draw up from the earth through my perineum. I'm squeezing my feet and my perineum a little to like add a little booster to it. Draw it up to my kidneys, up my spine, to the crown of my head. And I let it wash down the front. Back into the earth. You can use your breath. And use the ing sound. But let yourself communicate energetically with the earth through this cycle. Drawing up the back slowly to the crown. This is a very soft version of the microcosmic orbit. Now allow that to pause and just experience. And let's take our hand back to the soil if you haven't, if it's not still there. And through the palm of your hand, well, let's do it from our heart. From our heart, through the arm, through the palm of the hand, invite some sort of cycle of connection to happen. I'm not going to prescribe it. Just invite it. Now, let your eyes, with very soft vision, let your eyes open into this cycle. Not to shift the cycle, just to be participating. Keeping the majority of our attention on the blessing of the cycle, the mutual exchange, the friendship. And if through your gaze you see an ant or a worm or another creature of the earth, allow yourself to engage there as well in that quiet kind of way. If you see a seed or some other aspect, include it all. If you have green nearby, you might take your hand over to the green and sense not only the roots and the earth supporting the green, but the green itself. I want to invite you to be able to come back to this investigation, this intimacy, this friendship with the earth at any time from this point and be able to activate whatever comes next for you. So put a bookmark here, however you do that for yourself in your consciousness. And then I want to do a bigger body experiment. I want to go and use the hip movement in lift you up, port you down to play with the same exchange. So before we stand up or move around too much, I want you to call into your memory field, your energetic memory field, that movement. And then let something pass between your experience of exchanging and cycling with the earth. Allow some information and allow emerging, uh, sourcing, blessing, so that the cycling we've had with the earth here quietly can carry us, can merge right into and inform anew this part of the hip pattern that we play with. So I'd like you to I'd like you to take a just maybe 5 minutes. Do it a couple of times quietly, and just allow the cycling to inform your movement. And I'm not going to cue anymore. I'm just going to let you be in that movement that you know so well. from this flow forward of the, the earth and the exchange. Giving yourself a little time after you come to standing next to feel the information and energy distribute through your entire being. And coming back together as you're able. I'm gonna, let's see, I'll wait till we settle down. Or I'll see if I can figure out. Yeah. I'll,
How's that?
Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
I have a little ant on my screen.
She says Happy Earth Day.
Oh, beautiful. Azaleas.
Hmm?
Beautiful azaleas.
Yeah. We're hanging out. She and I are hanging out.
I invite you also, not, to play with me. Fine. Maybe after we finish, because that's another one that has taught me, that I've a good one to play with. Okay, how anyone wants to share? We're all muted, except for Vivian, but I trust she's wrapped up in our earth love.
I'll just name the welcoming. As a human with this body, but we're connecting with all that is. There's a point where feeling her welcoming, like a pull into the earth. It's such an amazing sensation. You know, it's not me sending the energy, it's her inviting me into the heart of the earth. That's just such a beautiful feeling. Everything was beautiful, but that one really touched me.
I guess we naturally, it seems natural for me, continually start out with this self-referenced point of view. At some point, I try and encourage myself to flip and then flip into the both and. When you're off practicing by yourself, you can watch that process yourself and invite that process yourself to, it's natural, and we can play with where we're referencing from. I went ahead and muted everyone while Sharon was talking because it made it easier to hear Sharon. So please unmute yourself when you're ready to share into the context. And if you can't seem to do it, then wave your hand and I'll help you.
For me, the feeling of friendship with the earth is so powerful, and just to feel that basic friendship energy is wonderful.
Yeah, and that flowed so easily off of our friendship and our love for Vivian, caring for her in that front moment.
It's beautiful.
You know, I'm not a gardener, and I often feel some envy for those of you who are gardeners. I'm not really at home in the garden in that way. I feel ignorant and new in that way, even though I'm so old. And so being these explorations you're taking us on, which I would not be doing on my own, are opening the garden up to me. And I'm very grateful for that. I just feel more at home. And, today, during my time here, the squirrel visited, the blackbirds, the hummingbird, another sweet singing bird, and then 2 deer just walked by. And if I weren't just sitting here, I would have missed all that. So this afternoon, my granddaughter's coming to visit, and she's really bad at social distancing. So I think I'm just going to go give it up for today with her, and because we've been really all careful. And take her, in honor of Earth Day, I'm going to take her on a nature walk through our garden. And I'm very, very excited about that. So thank you so much.
Ah,
That makes me happy.
Yeah, me too. We'll probably sit by these azaleas a while.
it'll be wonderful to be in the child mind with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And nowadays they're so schooled to not be in the child mind that in a certain way it's like helping her be with her child mind, because it's not the first thing they're teaching. I don't think. So we'll see. I look forward to this. Thank you.
Well, I'll share. My experience was all over the place today. So many things going on at one time. I was distracted. on one level, I couldn't get comfortable. And then on the other level, I was totally engaged. I do garden, and we've lived in this house for over 30 years. And I do have such deep gratitude for my garden. And I get down on my hands and knees and I'm gardening, but I realized it was always in a utilitarian mode. There's some reason I'm down on the ground to plant, dig, weed, prune. So to just sit at the level that I've been for years, but to look at things in a different way was really such a gift. And yes, again, the senses, listening, hearing, seeing, and to watch. We have bird feeders, and to watch the birds that just came anyway, it didn't matter how close I was. I mean, they're pretty much that way anyway, but it was such a unique experience. And then it was also an experience of an old childhood fear, which just kind of broadsided me, and I was so interested in seeing it. When I grew up, my father tried to create an experience for me so I wouldn't be afraid of bees and spiders and insects. And in doing that, he enhanced the fear to the point where many, many years ago, I would knock over tables and chairs if a bee went by or a moth and I have worked on that. And yet here I was, eyes closed, hands touching the ground, and something walked across my hand. And there was one part that wanted to just stay calm and open and see what it was. But that instinctive reaction just threw my hand up in the air and knocked whatever it was off. And I was just overcome with that old fear of insects. And at the same time that I'm rooted in the earth and opening to all of those experiences. So that was curious. That was very interesting to see. And then I noticed that doing the lift you up, port you down motion, I was stiff and I couldn't sustain that practice for very long. I could do a few like we do during the practice. Then I had to come up and move, and I actually started hip rotation. Then I went back down. So in one way, my mind was just all over the place today. It was just what it was. And I loved every minute of it. So there you are,
Hola.
the human condition.
Perfect. Perfect. Hola. Hola.
So I started out, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you could up your voice a little.
I started out, well, yesterday when I got the email about playing in the dirt, I thought, okay, I can't do that because I can't sit on the earth, which was just an interesting, thing. And then this morning I went down and found a place I could sit, like on a little bench that I brought down and propped my computer up. But then I couldn't, when you said reach for the earth, I couldn't reach the earth from there. So I got some earth in in a little bowl, but that wasn't just cutting it. So then I went back to my bench and sort of leaned back and touched the earth, but that was like not working. So then I just got on the ground and lay on the ground, which I could have thought of a long time ago. But it's just so interesting, like, getting stuck in what I couldn't do. Anyway, so then I laid on the ground in this place I've never laid in my yard, right on the earth with all the, just like green plants all around me and the trees above me and everything. You know, I had everything I could possibly ever want. And so that was just interesting to see the the interface of the stuck energy and how it resolved. And then when we were doing the lift chi up, pour chi down, I stayed on the ground because I was really feeling my Mingmen, like just doing the cycle, that the lift chi up movement on the ground, just lying down instead of standing up. And my Mingmen was just loving it, and it was just part of the whole cycle. And then I stood up, and then I could do it standing up too. And anyway, it was very Mingmenish and fun.
A lot of fun and transformation.
I had a kind of similar, very varied experience because of connection and not hearing you, and being trying to like root around where's the earth, and so it was in a lot of ways much more like life, where there's just all this distraction, and there's the garbage trucks, and there's people in my garden, but there were these moments that would just kind of pop out, like I really was breathing the oxygen of the earth. And I liked the practice because it was so distracting. And then there would be these moments of, here I am. And then other crap would happen, and then I couldn't hear Guma, and then I just really got groovy with the lemon balm, so it was just like that. So thank you for just getting us outside and on the earth, lying, sitting, whatever, just eating it, just like get out there and see what happens. It was kind of chaotic.
That's so great.
Oh, let's see. Sally, do you have anything you want to say in here?
I do. I found the soil, which was the seeds from the tree, from the leaves that are just beginning to blossom, just beginning. And so it lifted me up into the tree through those leaves from the roots. And so I just spent most of the time with crying because it felt so good. It's so clear, so clear. Thoroughly and am very connected. It was perfect timing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was just feeling so blessed by the start of the friendship piece that came off of us loving on Vivian. And it was so easy to sort of transfer that into the earth. And I was really kind of wondering how I had this desire to do something with the earth today. And I looked over all my other sort of things I wrote about last summer when I was making all these different games to play. And nothing was quite cutting it. But I just trusted that it would come. And what came. And so I'm grateful for that. And I've always I've so enjoyed those deeper parts of, when we're crouched down there, it's in lift you up, put you down. It's uncomfortable and it's crowded and cramped and my organs are squished and yet when I can move beyond that crowded, crampy stuff, and get into that deep cycle with the earth that's being activated in that movement for me. It's just such a awesome pump and exchange and deep well for me. So I wanted to share. I didn't know how it would come across for how other people have experienced that part of the movement, but the practice. But it's been both a challenge for me and a really big blessing, that part of the movement pattern. So, as is bending spine in a way, the same sort of different but similar. So happy Earth Day. And I'll put this recording up, and I think it's the kind of one that maybe I'll try and make the effort to cut off the exchange at the end, so it's just the meditation part. Maybe I can cut out my grandson's call too. So we those of us that had different sort of things come up, we can enter it again and play with it again. If that would entertain you.
It was beautiful, Guma.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Things are up there. I know I don't do something I've done already before again in this, but they are there, and you're also welcome to share them with other people. I did make a request to those like Sally and Diane and Betsy and stuff that are dropping in here and there that they catch the recording that we did just last before they drop in, so that they're kind of with us in the field. So if we have I just wanted to let you know that I sort of asked our occasionals to pick up the thread from where we were last. Hopefully that'll feel good in the field. So yeah, happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth
So
Day.
much.
Happy
Blessings.
Earth Day.
You too.
Earth
And
blessings.
Vivi,
all.
we love you. If you're listening, just to know that our hearts are with you and holding you.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, all of you. This was very, very good for me.
Good. So good.
Yep.
Love to everyone.
Love to you, everyone.
Love.
Indeed.
Love.